Hi, guys. It is
Hi.
Julia,
And Kitty
Hi.
Cat.
and we have a very special guest with us. If you could introduce yourself to our audience, Dr. Wendy.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Wendy Adams. I'm the CEO of Teddy Love Adult Toys and the inventor of Teddy Love.
Can you explain to our audience what Teddy Love is?
Yeah, sure. It's really a unique product that was nominated for 6 Product of the Year awards. It's basically a teddy bear, which has 8 speeds, or actually 10 speeds. 5 are fixed, 5 are variable, and it is actually a product that just looks like a regular teddy bear, but the motor is in the muzzle. So the nose and the tongue vibrate really, really strongly. And it's really nice because it sits, you could keep it right out on your bed. Unlike other vibrators, you have to put in, hide them away from kids and guests, right? You don't want anybody to see your vibrators most of the time, right? You don't leave them laying out, but Teddy Love, you can. You could just leave him right on your bed, right there in plain sight.
I'll say that we've used Teddy Love as a raffle prize for several of our events, and every time that we use him, it's one of the most popular things. People are so blown away by this product, and there's something so kind of whimsical about how adorable this teddy bear is. What made you decide to develop this product?
it was it was really serendipity. I was up in New England with my husband, and he was putting our daughter to bed. But I had a teddy bear, and I was holding it, like, just cuddling with it. It was a very snowy day or evening, and the bear's nose hit my nipple, and I was like, "Oh, that feels pretty good." And then I started, putting the bear like down, on my private parts. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, my husband came down and he saw me doing this and he started laughing, like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I think if there's a motor in this would make an awesome, awesome product." And that was it. He got a product developer who was an engineer, and we went through several prototypes, and Teddy Love is the end result.
Well, I have to say, like I said, I think it's a super fantastic product. How long has Teddy Love been around?
Well, we launched, I think it was in 2015. So 5 years now. Yeah. And then we just added more and more products onto our website. So we have a lot of BDSM products. We've got regular vibrators, but of course our flagship product is Teddy Love. And we have really cute, adorable outfits for him, for special occasions like Hanukkah, Christmas, and Valentine's Day. And we even have these cute bear outfits for weddings, like a tux and a bridal dress, or you could get 2 bridal dresses, or you could have 2 tuxes, right? In today's day and age, anything goes.
Oh,
So
it's
yeah,
like Build-A-Bear.
right, right. It's like Build a Bear, except you can have more fun with Teddy Love than Build a Bear. It's more
And
fun.
exactly. And you mentioned, is your husband a part of your business with you? It sounds like he was part of kind of coming up with the whole idea with you.
Well, he is part of the business. Obviously, I'm like the spokesperson,
Mm-hmm.
and he does help, obviously, with a lot of the logistical concerns. And we work together. Like, we'll do trade shows, we go on bliss cruises, and we work together. We'll work a booth. But when it comes to like seminars, I'll do sex seminars, and
Mm-hmm.
he usually just mans the booth when I'm doing that, so he doesn't even know what goes on. He'll just know when the after effects, when people walk up and they start commenting on the sex show that I that I do with people. like one of
What
the
are, what
it
are
just jarred my memory of this one bliss cruise we did. And I was doing a sex show, and I have people, I use audience participation, and I had this one guy come up, and he had tattoos on his penis and his balls. And I'm like, "Oh, that's very interesting." And then as soon as I said that, he was like talking with his penis. So everybody in the audience was like, "Wow, look at that." And then he came up to the booth. He goes, "I made so many friends because of that seminar. You have no idea." He goes, "We just moved into this swingers community, And he goes, everybody came up to him. Now he has all these friends because of that seminar, which is, it's fun. It's a fun thing to do.
What are bliss cruises? I'm not familiar with that term.
It's like a swinger community.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's everybody on the cruise is pretty much, unless you pull up to port, everybody's naked and running around trying to hook up, basically. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. And when you were getting into this business, what was kind of the biggest challenge that you guys ran into? I imagine that it's not as simple as putting a motor in a bear.
Oh, good. No, not at all. I think shockingly so. Well, I spent my career in the healthcare industry, and I was in really like in an area where we would sell products. I was a manager, a leader, and we'd sell products for like STDs and birth control and fungal infections and all that kind of thing. And I launched Viagra. And I think because of it was just one of those things when you're launching or you're communicating with healthcare providers for products that help with sex. You dismantle any inhibitions. So I was pretty fluid in saying the word penis. After going through that. So I had not launched a product, a company or a product prior to doing this, and because I worked in corporate America. So the most surprising thing was, we had to learn a whole new industry. And what was surprising to me was how, even though like I met a lot of porn stars, they were very articulate and intelligent and really business people. I just had this preconception that people in that industry were not articulate. And to my surprise, there were very intelligent people, running these businesses, and, pornography is a business. So I think that was the most surprising thing. But we had to learn the whole industry and how to distribute products and who to work with, who are the key players, that sort of thing. And then we had a porn star, Brittany Amber, who was our initial spokesperson, and we had all these beautiful pictures with the bear and her. And so, it was a huge learning curve. That's what surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say about as I get to know more and more of the players kind of in the sex industry is that the people who are successful really do run themselves like a business. It's not that different than anything in the muggle world.
Exactly. So, you have to be, I think, open-minded. And that's the other thing is maybe I wasn't so open-minded until we launched the product, because we were a vanilla couple. And we were married like 22 years or maybe more at that point. So it was really pretty exciting to like learn all this underground sexuality that goes on in the United States. It was pretty fascinating to learn about.
And it's kind of fun you guys got to do it as a couple too.
Right.
After 20 plus years, that's the crazy part about it. Because usually when people are, they get into their sexuality, like as a couple, they're like, okay, this is what we do. We do this, we do that.
Yeah. So we were just learning and growing together. And it was pretty fascinating as, two people that were very vanilla, very. Very. And now we're pretty open to a lot of different scenarios, and not that we do stuff every day or every week, but when we're at shows or and I'm running a booth, we have opportunities to engage, if we want to. And one of the things I learned how to do, and what I like to do, is flogging. So I enjoy flogging people, and I actually enjoy being flogged myself. So that was something that I was I didn't know anything about it.
Where did you go to kind of learn about the BDSM world?
It's really on the job training. Yeah, we where did I learn? Well, I mean, there's different organizations that you can partake in, like the Femdom, there's all Femdom communities out there. The BDSM world is pretty wide. There's all different like kinky things that you can do too. And so it's really on the job and finding out what what underground opportunities there are and what organizations you can collaborate with, if that makes sense. So it was really on the job. It's talking to people. I actually had a podcast in the city for a while, and I would bring guests on, and they would tell me a lot of things I didn't know. So I'm learning, I'm learning as I'm growing. It's like building the plane while you're flying the plane.
And what other products do you guys have? You mentioned that Teddy Love isn't the only product that you guys have.
Yeah, we have a lot of BDSM products. We have, just anything. It runs a gamut. We have a wide array of different types of vibrators, and all of our products can be used really by men and women. And that's the nice thing. We try to carry products that will be helpful to couples, to play as a couple, whatever type of couple you are. So if you can go on my websites, Teddy Love Adult Toys, and you'll see, the different types of products that we do carry.
And where would you say is the number one place that people find you? Is it at the live events? Is it online?
I think, we have the wholesale business. So that's obviously Google, Google search or whatever browser you're using. But then, it's sporadic when we have a booth. So I can't even tell you, like, where is it? Sometimes we're in Vegas. Sometimes we're on a ship. Sometimes, it's just local. So there's, but the easiest way for people to find our products is obviously through Google search or whatever browser you're using.
Do you find that there are pockets of the country where you do most of your sales out of?
What's weird? Lately, it's all the Midwest. I don't know what's going on down there, but I'm on the East Coast, but I don't know if something's going on out west there. Maybe things are not as accessible because, we'll ship anywhere, but we ship all over the world too. That was the other surprising thing, that when we launched, we started getting sales all over the world without really doing much to get the sales. You know what I'm saying? It just, because of the internet, everything's a global product now.
I feel like it would be very popular in Japan, like that. It just like the playfulness of it would be very, translate very well to that culture.
Yeah, and we actually had some people that they seemed like they were going to steal the product from us, with Pat, they were really aggressive, and I'm like, why are they being so aggressive? But the problem is, when you own a patent, you have to apply for a patent, in different countries. So our patent for the EU covers just the EU, and the US, we're just covered in the US. So if you want to get, patent coverage anywhere else in the world, each country has its own process, and that becomes very costly. And then how are you going to really police it? You can't. It's impossible.
Right. Yeah.
But we sold in a lot of the English speaking we had countries. We had distributors in the Netherlands. We had 2 distributors in the Netherlands.
Sounds like the Dutch.
The Dutch are really kinky, I guess.
They are. They're so kinky, and they're so matter of fact about it, which is what I love about them. Yeah. They're like, this is my favorite food. This is like my belief on Christianity or whatever religion you are, and this is my favorite sexual position. And that's like, and you have that like conversation at coffee with the Dutch. Like, it's crazy. So not American.
Yeah. So, I mean, really the English speaking countries were really embracing it. And Australia, as far as Australia, people were buying it left and right from Australia. So, but now lately we're getting a lot of orders from the Midwest. I don't know. I think it's because it's so innocuous, and like your husband may not even know that you have it. It's a vibrator. It's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And your kids certainly won't know, Although my daughter did find it, and she goes, "Oh, Mommy, what's this? I like this bear. What is the bear?" And I go, "That's Mommy's bear, honey. You go get your own bear."
Yeah, I can see that would create a few awkward situations.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We were on a lot of shows, like radio stations, and also the Doctor Show, if you know the Doctor Show, and even it was mentioned New Jersey Housewives. because one of the daughters, the mother came out and said, I know what you were doing in there with that bear, my friends, and on Z100 and K-Rock. So, the product does well. I'm just surprised that, I don't know why, all of a sudden we're getting a lot of orders in the Midwest.
Yeah. Has quarantine affected your sales at all? Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, I have. I guess people are, really needing something stimulating during quarantine because, our sales have definitely picked up since quarantine. Definitely.
I feel like people have a lot of
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people have a lot of time to kind of dig into the internet right now, Exactly.
And they have a lot of time at home. So it's like, how many times can you, walk around the room? Hey, let's do something different.
Exactly.
Experiment.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of what's next for you guys, where do you see you guys? Do you guys see you developing more products, or what do you think is going to be next for your company?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're kind of good now. It's very expensive to invent a product. I don't know if anybody, on your show has done that before, but it costs so much money. Between patent getting your patent, getting the trademark, getting your website, getting the product itself, getting manufacturing. So we're still trying to, recoup some of the costs, to be honest. It was that costly. But I see us staying in this for a long time and certainly adding more products to our portfolio. I would like to get some lingerie, Teddy Love lingerie, and place that onto the website eventually.
I would love to see a Teddy Love narrative, like a comic book or like a DVD. Like,
oh, those are great ideas.
Yeah,
my developer.
Teddy's Adventures.
Adventures with Teddy Love. I mean, you could totally make it like an 80s cartoon to get like the nostalgia aspect of it. It would be great.
It's funny that you're saying that because I actually started a screenplay, and I really need to get back to that because that's really what I wanted to develop a screenplay. Because I thought it'd be like a great show for Netflix,
Yeah.
And it's so interesting, and so everything I've learned is just crazy, and I think people would really be entertained by the whole thing. They're funny moments in your life, and unique ones at that.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about kind of this, I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I've loved consuming content that is not just like sex industry based, but about the people in the sex industry because it's so fascinating and the stories and why people do it. I would tune in if you had a Netflix show.
Oh,
I definitely would.
Thank you. You'll be N of one right now, but thank you. I have to flush it out, but I have the structure, I have the content. I just have to like put my mind to it. It's like, because when I did my dissertation, I think that really spooked me of writing because it was like a 250-page dissertation and it took 7 years to do. And I was doing that while I was launching the product.
Yeah, so I can imagine.
Yeah.
Stressful. It was very stressful. So, screenplays would be a pleasure to write, though. I just have to get my mind back into it.
Can you tell people a little bit about your life outside of Teddy Love? You just mentioned that you finished a dissertation.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a sexologist with my doctorate. I have a doctorate in leadership. And I have the company, I have a consulting arm of it. So that's really basically what I do day to day to get income coming in. And, I have 2 kids. One's is in medical school and the other one is going into high school. So I have a big spread. So I'm really busy with them. And, we've been married almost 30 years now. And it's, I have a really very busy life. I enjoy what I'm doing and I love my product. And one good thing, the next thing with the product is there are therapeutic benefits of Teddy Love. So I just got the trademark for Therated, and that product can be used in patients that are in nursing homes and people with diabetic foot, people that have MS, any vibration therapy they found benefits with. So that's my next step, to kind of relaunch it in that realm too.
Oh, that's amazing. That's like a dual use for the product. That's a really
Exactly.
creative use of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and they also said, and I kind of cringed because I was trying to figure out how to get the tongue off, because that tongue is in there really strong. You can't just cut it off. It's very difficult, but I was thinking about using it for kids that need occupational therapy and autism and that sort of thing. So there's a lot more we can do with the product. It's just the one kind of hold up was getting rid of the tongue for those uses. And I'll tell you, that tongue is good. Have you tried the product out at all?
Not like that. We've given away all your products then.
When we used to do the shows, we would take it out and show it to the audience and then put it back in the box. So
yeah,
we've seen what the tongue is. It is a very strong tongue.
It's a very strong tongue, very strong, and it will give you multiple orgasms. It's that strong. So yeah, try it out. You got to try it out.
Well, now I'm wishing I had.
We'll have to send you 2 more then.
There you go. And one more time, if you can tell our guests just where they can find you online and connect with you and learn more about your products.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, my website is www.teddyloveadulttoys. I know it's long.com. So that's where the products are. And if you ever need to get in touch with me, I'd be happy to return your emails. You can just send an email to info@teddylove.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Wendy. We had a great time chatting with you today and learning more about the products. Like I said, we love it. We think it's so fun, and we encourage everybody to go check it out.
Oh, thank you so much. It was great speaking with you both.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have a great day.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.
I just waved at her and she's not
That's okay.
an avatar, which is very funny.
I really do love Teddy Love, though. I think it's such a fun and creative product. And honestly, every single time we've brought it out at a show, people go nuts for it.
They go apeshit. It's really funny because they're like, what is this?
I know. So I'm kind of enticed by her saying she'll send a couple more.
Maybe she will. I do think it would be very funny if you could do a Teddy Love comic book where Teddy Love's it'd be like the Care Bears, where Teddy Love's power is his vibration. So it'd be a dirty comic book of some sort, but
that's what I'm thinking, Teddy's Dirty Adventures, or
right.
It's almost like that bear. What was that bear movie a couple years ago where the bear got into all kinds of Ted. It's almost it's like Ted, but the porn version.
Yes.
Of Ted.
Yes. I feel like it would be very popular in Portland. People in Portland would be like, "Yes, Teddy Love, we've been waiting for you." Your ironic, semi-ironic form of comedy.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that her business has taken an uptick with coronavirus. I think people sitting at home are probably, like I said, searching the internet, finding all kinds of interesting things to do and try.
People in Kansas, they're like, yes, Teddy Love. Teddy Love is the answer to the quarantine.
Yes. This month also, I want to bring up is Pride Month. We're in June.
It is because I'm starting to see it on Facebook.
Yeah, we're starting to see. It was a little quiet at the beginning of the month because of the other things that were going on. But people are really starting to draw focus and write articles about different elements of Pride. And I found this great article on Playboy about the first trans woman to ever appear in Playboy, which, funny enough, the first time she appeared in it was actually kind of an accident. They didn't know she was
trans. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah, they didn't know.
She looks amazing.
Oh, she looks amazing. So just to give you a little background, this model's name is Tula. She's a former Bond girl, and she did a spread in Playboy in I believe it was 1982, 81.
81 was the first one. She was the Bond girl
Okay.
in 81.
Yeah. So she did a shoot, I think, with several other Bond girls.
Yes, and Roger Moore too. Like they did like a cross marketing thing where like, you know, they were at the Playboy Mansion because there's pictures in the article of like them doing, and it's like Hugh and Roger Moore and all the girls standing at the mansion.
Yeah, it's, you know, she doesn't stand out. Obviously, you can see her if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. She looks like a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
What's interesting is at the time, nobody knew she was trans. I can't remember. I'm looking at the article right now to figure out who broke the story, but I believe it was broke in 1991 that she was indeed transgendered.
I believe that and I could have this wrong, but I think 91 was when she posed again after the marriage broke up. She like was pretty much outed by the press, like the British press, because she's British. And then like she kind of didn't really, it got to the point where she was like the token British girl, trans girl. So like, you know, they started being like, oh, we want we want you to play the trans person. She's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to be who I am. And I just want to live a normal life. Cause she was a model that got cast in this movie. It wasn't like she was trying to be an actress. And then she was getting married to someone who knew she was trans, had read her book about her being trans. And then it blew up in the tabloids again after they got married. And his other family members found it out and pretty much whisked him away, never to be seen again. And then after that, she decided, what the fuck, let me pose at Playboy again. And then she did her own full pictorial.
Which I have to say in 1991 is pretty revolutionary of Playboy to do.
Absolutely. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I guess that kind of leads the way. Playboy over the years has kind of led the way in a lot of civil rights issues.
Absolutely. They funded a lot of the birth control laws in the 60s and were one of the first night talk shows, some kind of television breaking the color barrier back in the day with Playboy After Dark, which is one of my favorite 1960s shows to watch on YouTube if you've ever watched it, which is like this swinging penthouse pad that like, it's like they took the Chicago Playboy Mansion and then like they were like, okay, let's
made it a show.
Make it a show. Yeah. So he had his friends on. Who were both
Davis stopping by,
right? And that was when they broke the color barrier. But like Hugh Hefner like pretty much is the reason that any woman out there can get birth control, because he spent so much money funding the birth control movement through the South, through like a lot of states.
Yeah. So good on Playboy. I really encourage anybody, if they want to check out the article, it's on playboy.com, and you can kind of learn more about Tula and her whole story, and see more of her stunning photos that were in.
Oh, gorgeous.
And I mean, we're talking, it's, we're now at this point, almost 30 years later, and it's amazing that they did this then. And it's amazing that it's still a topic of conversation and still a taboo now, which I think is disappointing in and of itself in some ways. But Pride Month is a great time to kind of highlight these people that have made progress. And so shout out to Tula for being a hot ass babe.
Yes. Julia, you and I did a Pride parade in Las Vegas.
We did. We were on like it was a rhinoceros float.
It was a burning rhinoceros. I think it was called Dusty the Rhino, which is a Burning Man art car, and it was us and like 30 or 40 other people. I mean, do you remember we just waited in line forever? There were so many floats.
Yeah,
like there was so much celebration.
It kind of reminded me why I don't like doing parades, though. I was like, this is a lot of waiting around.
That was like a lot of my childhood. It was a big deal to be in a parade, like, you know, but like you waited around a lot when you did a parade. Like, you're like, you get like all dressed up in the morning. You're so excited. And then it's like 5 hours before you go.
Yeah. I did a lot of parades growing up, especially when I did pageants. I did a lot of like waving from the parade float. Oh, shout out to a very interesting documentary on Hulu.
Oh,
Miss Snake Charmer, about a pageant in West Texas where the girls charm rattlesnakes.
Oh, that I'm assuming you were not involved in that during your pageant time.
I was not. I didn't deal with rattlesnakes. I was Miss Rose, or I was part of the Miss Rose Queen pageant. Much different.
Where is that one?
Jackson, Michigan. But it's really interesting. It's on Hulu. These girls like skin rattlesnakes and stand in rattlesnake pits and wear evening gowns and do talent.
Oh my God. It sounds like it's all like the secondary characters from Tiger King. You know how there were like the girls that would like fall in love with the guys? Yes, it's like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I recommend checking it out. One other thing I saw this week, I believe, is a couple that came up with kind of an interesting tactic to sell their house.
Oh my God, I love this story.
Okay, do you want to start with it? I'll get
So this couple's somewhere in Arkansas. I don't remember the town. It's a small town, and they're real. Okay, first of all, they're super entrepreneurs. They're like so many levels of being an entrepreneur. So they're realtors, and they looked at their market, and because they want to move to Florida, and they decided, why don't we add a sex dungeon to up the value of the house? That includes a bar because they live in a dry county, and includes sex furniture that the couples make. And then they also are filming a reality TV show of some sort, like a sizzle reel, about what it's like to build sex dungeons for other couples.
It's pretty fascinating and pretty ingenious. And the thing is that it actually worked in a way. The listing went viral and they got so much attention from it that they actually pulled it off the market, and they're going to be using it as a dungeon.
For themselves?
No, publicly. They're going to be like,
oh, they're going to have a public dungeon at the house.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's public because you can't.
Right. Like a private dungeon club of some sort.
Exactly. Because they got so much overwhelming response from it.
It's also fascinating because they have 2 children living in the house, it says, too.
I mean, what are you going to do about it?
So we need to Google this at some point. But when I was on tour for Pinups on Tour at one point, we were in, I think it's when we did a show like outside of Memphis, Tennessee. We're in this tour van, your tour van, and we're listening to the radio, and this news article came on about a preacher who had used the bottom of the church as a sex dungeon on weekends. And it made so much money that at this point they were talking about closing the church and just turning it into like a strip club sex dungeon.
I'm sure it makes more money than a church. I guarantee you.
Plus, it was it was tax exempt.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you that are watching on our Facebook, you'll see I pulled up the photo of the house. I just want to compare how normal it looks on the outside.
So normal.
It's like a 1-story Midwest basic house. It's nothing. You would never know that there's a crazy sex dungeon in the basement. And I'm just so proud of them for coming up with that idea.
It's true. Well, they were somewhat inspired by the listing last year they did in Philadelphia. There was a listing last year in Philadelphia where someone listed it and included a sex dungeon. It wasn't like built, and like that listing went so viral that they were like, let's do this.
Yeah, and I think
it's amazing.
It's genius. It's amazing. And I think let me get the town right. They're in Van Buren, Arkansas. So next time you find yourself in Van Buren, Arkansas, look up their dungeon and give yourself a treat.
It's true. It's true.
One other thing I wanted to talk about this week as everybody goes back to work is sex workers are starting to get back into the business.
Yes, they are in Switzerland, at least.
Yes.
Which is pretty interesting. Switzerland, like the Netherlands, apparently has legal brothels. And they've come out with some rules on code of conduct for the prostitutes, which are pretty funny.
It's pretty, yeah. So they put, so for instance, they are limiting customers to doggy style and reverse cowgirl to allow enough distance between the
face-to-faces. Yes.
No face-to-face contacts. Now, do we know if coronavirus can be spread like through other bodily
like
fluids?
Vaginally? You mean like AIDS?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I actually had this conversation not about that with my dad because I'm here in Florida, and I was like, "Is it spread through mosquitoes? Because malaria is." And like, there's a lot of mosquitoes right now in Florida. If you look, I'm like covered in mosquito bites. Right, you can like see it right there, like there.
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know the answer, and my dad's like, I don't know the answer. So,
so. To be determined, I guess.
I mean, there could be, if it is regulated, there could be definitely like condom laws like there are in porn and other stuff. But also, some of my favorite tidbits were they recommend that you limit your time to 15 minutes.
Yes. And they ventilate the room for at least 15 minutes afterwards.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have to wear a mask at all times, which it's like, you know, like the whole tried and true that like the prostitutes never want to kiss you. And then like the guys, like even as a stripper, they like to, like, they're always like, let me kiss you. And you're like, no, gross. Like herpes exists. And this is like the perfect excuse for prostitutes. Like, no, I'm wearing a mask. You cannot make out with me.
They also say things like towels and hound towels are washing and sheets and towels and things have to be kept at 60 degrees at all time. They have to have disinfectants. They do have to have gloves, condoms, like you said. And they
is that 60 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit? Because I wasn't quite sure. I feel like 60 degrees Celsius is a lot hotter. Like it's a hot towel.
That's a hot towel.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. We're going to have to consult the Swiss government on that one, whether they translated it.
Yeah, it was definitely very entertaining to read that article.
I mean, it makes sense, though. You know what I mean? I guess, like, if people are going back to work, all businesses, like here in Vegas, the casinos have a whole guideline of things that they're doing to keep themselves safe. So,
which are like what?
Industry? So temperatures for everyone coming and going, masks for all employees. They have plexiglass at the games to like separate all the gaming players
from the doors.
Yeah, I think it's 30% capacity in the hotels, 50% capacity on the floors. But I kind of wonder how they're regulating this. And honestly, everyone says that when they've been going out, it feels like it's not 50% capacity. Like they're just balls to the walls.
So I don't watch a ton of news, but I do like watch some here and there. And I watched an interview on YouTube today about the uptick because, you know, we're a couple weeks after Memorial Day. So the numbers are going up. Like my mom, I had a conversation with my mom today and she said that they were expecting the fatality rate to get to 200,000 by September based on the projected numbers right now. And the news article was saying it's happening in Phoenix. And they're like, why Phoenix? And they're like, well, Phoenix slower with them to begin with. But then also it's the air conditioning in hot places because you're getting recycled air, which they said that. And I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, I've heard, like I know LA is having some issues, like they're like doubling the amount of deaths every day or something. But they're still opening up everything June 12th. And I think at this point people have made the call that we're gonna risk it. I think that's the decision we've made as a country. And so if you're vulnerable, I guess it's up to you to protect yourself.
My mom, go ahead.
No, I was talking to one of the girls in our show that has asthma, and she works at a bar here in Vegas as a singing bartender.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked her to come back for her job. And she was like, I have asthma. I'm pretty uncomfortable, like working in like the biggest tourist area with this pandemic going on. So they gave her like a 2-week doctor's note, but then if she doesn't go back, she loses her unemployment.
Right.
And so I feel like people are kind of you told us this was dangerous. You told us to stay home. We all bought in, and now you're telling us to go back.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough calls to make. Like, I was talking to my mom today. She's in the Bay Area. So I'm always like talking to people in different areas trying to figure out, because I'm always like, are you wearing masks? Are you not wearing masks? If the gyms are open, are people wearing masks? Because like, I went on a bike ride with my dad yesterday. We rode by a gym and the entire gym nobody was wearing a mask. And I was like, okay, and my mom said in California, in the Bay Area, like where she is, they've said masks are optional a lot of places now, which surprised me.
Yeah, it's optional here pretty much everywhere. It's pretty much mandatory for employees, but optional if you're in the place. My gym hasn't opened yet. It's one of the only gyms in Vegas that hasn't opened.
Yeah.
And I think it's primarily because we're class-based.
Yes.
And they just don't know how to operate.
Yeah.
Without, like, you've been to those classes. You're jam-packed in there.
I love those classes. Like True Fusion. Yeah. True Fusion is the jam, but I totally understand because they want to do it in a smart fashion.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, how do they make their profit margins if they don't have the classes?
They don't
jam-packed.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a member of True Fusion in Vegas, also LVAC. And like the reason I joined LVAC was the classes, but like I would be in a dance class with over 100 people at times. Like that, because it was awesome and that energy and all that stuff. But like, you can't really, maybe you can. I don't know. Who knows? It's like, everything's topsy-turvy is the best way to explain it. I'm like, I don't know what makes sense anymore.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't need to know, I guess.
But I do know that Pinups on Tour premiered a video last night.
We did. You can check it out on our Facebook. It's a That Man, a Cara Emerald cover, and the Swing It Girls perform it with Becky Fullington tapping. And the really cool thing is we were able to film at the Welcome to Las Vegas sign because all the tourists were gone. So we had the sign to ourselves for like a half hour at sunrise. And we got this beautiful video and it's so much fun. And check it out. It's so fun.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, like just the whole tableau looks amazing with the sign, and the Swing It Girls with their Andrews Sisters numbers, like they're so good with those hands. And then like when Becky does it with them, I'm like, oh, look, they're all doing it together.
I know. They did a really nice job putting it together. We work with the most talented people that I feel like sometimes I'm just like, make magic happen. And then all of a sudden they do. Like I give them no real direction.
Yeah.
I pick like a song and a location and all of a sudden everything else comes together. It's pretty amazing.
That's what happens when you hire the right people.
It's true. It's true. And it honestly was just nice just to perform again and create again and kind of start looking forward. We've started a new referral program with Pinups on Tour where if you book your show for either the end of this year or 2021, you can pre-book for 2021. We give $150 back to your favorite veterans organization. So we've started kind of booking some shows and things have started moving again. And it's it's nice to have a little bit of movement. I admit, as much as I love my dog, I'm sick of spending every moment with her. Yeah.
That dog will settle from you, all of it.
I will say I started online dating again.
Oh yeah, how is that going?
Well, I sent
Do
you.
you want to tell your funny story? I'm like, because I already told it to my mom today. She thought it was hysterical.
I told it to my mom too, right after it happened. I thought it was hysterical too. So for our listeners at home, I signed up for Match.com because it's the serious dating app.
It's the one you get married off of.
The one you get married off of. I was like, I'm going to sign up for Match.com and find me a serious man. So I signed up. I did their whole personality thing, pressing the buttons, whatever, creating the profile. And then all of a sudden it takes you to your pages where it's like, here are your matches. And then it pulled up a match at 100% compatibility. This match was my ex-husband that I divorced 9 years ago.
Who did not live in Las Vegas last time you heard. Like,
well, I divorced him in Washington State and he moved back to Michigan. So it's kind of crazy that we're living within 3 miles of each other and ended up on the same dating app. It gave my family a really good laugh.
It gave my mother a good laugh too.
They question the Match.com's compatibility ratings now, though.
Yeah.
Because clearly that was not an accurate. I guess on paper we looked really good together.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are both performers. Like you like the musical theater-y kind of stuff.
We both went to college in Michigan. Like I don't know what about the compatibility, but I was like, oh. And I was so terrified because like I didn't even open it because Match has a thing where you can see who reads your profile. And so I was like, I'm not even opening it. I'm just Xing. Like, but I kind of like, there's a part of me that's like, did he see that too? Did that?
Oh, I'm sure. I think it had to. Yeah.
It had to come up on his end. It had to.
It's hysterical. It's like, it's like one of those things with the universe where you're like, you look up and you're like, really? This is this?
I was like, I signed up on the serious dating app to find a husband and I found my ex-husband.
The thing I find so amazing about it is it's like, it'd be one thing if like you knew he was in town or like, you know, it's another thing when like you're 2,000 miles away and like he's nowhere on your radar and then he popped up on your profile and you're like, what?
And what killed me was he was the first one.
Oh my God.
One. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about you, Match.com. We'll see. We're 2 days into it. So far, I'm not having any better luck on Match than Bumble. So save your money, people. I'll let you know if my opinion changes. I also heard from a guy that I went on a date with like 2 years ago who has such a bad remembrance of time. He was like, yeah, we dated like a few months ago. And I was like, no, we didn't. I was engaged, lived with someone else, broke up with that person. Like a few months ago.
The whole backstory. You're missing out on this.
I was like, your perception at times a little off, bud.
Oh, that's every man though. Every guy. Like I was messaging with a guy that like, you know, we go on a date like once a year, but like we haven't for like a year and a half. And I was like, oh, I feel like it's, you know, I can tell you exactly when we were supposed to hang out last. He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, that's a dude. That's a dude because I can tell you the story behind it. And he's like, oh, it's the pretty girl. I like to hang out with her.
There's like no story behind this.
No, not at all. None at all. Like that is where male brains and female brains are completely different.
Yeah. So I'll keep you guys posted on the Match.com and let you know how it goes. I feel like, I mean, I was thinking about eHarmony, but damn, that shit's expensive.
eHarmony is also like the super religious one too, right?
Well, I think it might be, but they have like more testing, which is why I like it because it's like you do the test and then it like matches you with your people. Because I've decided like clearly I'm not doing so good swiping on looks alone. That's not getting me too many where I want to go. So I was like, I'll try one of these with more things. eHarmony has a lot of different personality questionnaires.
Yeah.
But it's like $60 a month. And you have to commit to like 6 months or something.
Really? They really want you to be like,
They really want you in it. And they boast that they have like a 71% success rate. I'm like, yeah, because you spent like $400 on it. I can get a matchmaker for that.
I need like a nice Jewish matchmaker.
Maybe that's what I need. A nice,
like you would like a nice LA Jewish matchmaker. Like,
yeah, maybe that's my next step if Match.com doesn't work out.
Don't ask me. I do horrible on dating sites. So every time, I swear to God, the thing is, like, I'm a nerdy girl at heart. So I have a tendency to attract nerdy guys who have no balls whatsoever, are very funny, and like will send you like a message of like a quip here and there, and then the
meme guys.
The meme guys, yes. Like, because Julia was bitching about this a couple months ago. She was dating some nerdy guy, and he was sending her like superhero memes, right?
Yeah, it was like meme after meme after meme. And I finally was like, stop sending me memes, like communicate with me. And then he would send me like a meme to that. Like I was like, I can't.
Yeah, and I told her I could very much like relate to that. But they're horrible when it comes to aggression. So like, you know, it's like pulling teeth when you flirt with them, to the point where like I just give up on them after a while.
Yeah.
I just
that's the problem, is if you set this, and I do this too, and I don't know if this is us setting ourselves up to be disappointed by online dating, but we expect guys to play by the rules that they're supposed to play with in the real world online. Like, you still have to play by those rules. I still need you to do the dude things. But the power of online dating has made it such that they can be lazy. And so they don't have to do those things. And so it makes it, that's why it's like, I feel like I'm like filtering through all the time to like, just like most of the guys are just like bullshit guys. Like
I feel like the most action I get these days is on Instagrams in my DM. And most of the time it's like I post a picture of like a alcoholic drink, and like every dude's like, oh my God, I love that alcohol. I'm like, they're never like passionate, you know. It's not that kind of stuff. And like I noticed the days I post selfies on my Insta stories, the guys comment on stuff, but they don't comment on the selfie. So they're attracted by the selfie, but then I get like an uptick in action on something else. Like they're like, I can't comment on the selfie because I'm a nerdy guy and I don't have enough confidence to be like, oh, that's a pretty lady, I'd like to go out with her, or like get beyond the DMs of Instagram, you know? So instead they'll comment on like my cup of coffee or my cat, you know? And I was like, I know what's going on, guys. I can see it. Like, I see this pattern.
Yeah, it's, you know, I don't know what I say this, I complain about nobody asking me out in the real world. The other day I was walking down the street, some guy in a really nice car who was like attractive pulled over and asked for my number, and I laughed and like walked.
Yeah. I've had that happen, and I went on the date.
Oh, see, I like, as soon as he drove off, I was like, I literally was just like flattered and like kept walking. Like, and then like a block later, I was like, why did you say just flattered to that attractive guy in the nice car who had the balls, who was driving the other direction, pulled his car around and asked me a number. I was like,
this happened to me. I was walking down Main Street in Santa Monica, and a guy like literally like drove by me and said, oh my God, I loved your smile so much. I want to take you out. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign from the universe, because that's usually how I talk myself into all my crazy situations. I'm like, okay, well, let's see, we're gonna go with this, universe. And we went on this crazy date. He took me to like the Sony lot because he was doing some project with like Steve Wozniak, who founded Apple. I don't know, it was crazy. And then we like snuck into like where Pink was rehearsing for her, like, I swear to God. And then he never called me again. which takes me to my theory that I've talked about before, which is when they take you on that crazy first date, it's like they're trying to overcompensate for something. And I appreciate those fun, crazy first dates, but then I never usually hear from the guys again, because it's like, then you have to actually be yourself.
Well, it's like it's either they build you up or they build themselves up. There's something that happens there.
It's both. It's both. It's like, you know, they think themselves into a corner, I think is the best way to explain it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, you kind of want a guy that doesn't have like all these expectations of falling in love or having this fairy tale first date, because I mean, I've gone to the point where I don't really want the fairy tale anymore. I'll take like a nice consistent growth.
Right.
Like that.
I mean, like, you know, Anderson Cooper just started a family with his ex-boyfriend. So like, he's like, you know what? We dated for 10 years. He's a really nice guy. He'd probably be a good father. So let's do that. Like,
I mean, at a certain point.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know the answer. I don't think anybody does. I think that's part of what a relationship is it's like a mirror to bounce yourself off of. And like, you get the good and the bad, but you always have to see the best in your partner, regardless of the situation. And it's kind of like, you know, it's like a plane that goes like this. And you just got to be able to like be the best version of yourself, regardless of whether you're with a partner or not. And then you attract the partner. And then you still have to be your best version, even when you're with the partner might not see that.
Yeah.
And that's dating in a nutshell.
That's dating in a nutshell. Well, I'll keep you posted on my stuff.
Oh, please do. Because like, I'm just getting like comments on my pizza making skills with my dad. So like,
live vicariously.
I know.
If people want to find us online, they can do that at wttburlesque.com. We have all of our past episodes there. We also have a ton of videos there if you want to watch
many videos.
Burlesque. Yeah. Find us in iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. Please rate and review us. Somebody left us the nicest review saying that we're like the sexy, dirty jobs.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Yeah.
So please rate and review. We will be back soon with more guests and more topics. If you want to find us on socials at WTT Burley. I think that's all I have this week.
That sounds good. That's all we have. And we have some fun people coming up next week.
We do. We have actually the rest of the month. We have some really fun.
Oh yeah, I just booked us into July. So
oh my God.
I know.
Now.
Yeah, we got Canisexual coming up. We got Bendy Barbie, who's like this amazing pole dancer. We got Burlesque Maven Vixen DeMille coming up in July.
What?
Who's amazing. And
she is amazing.
She's amazing, and she just tipped me off to the show that we're going to talk about on this podcast, which is a British talk show, dating show. I cannot explain it to you. I'm going to have to.
Send me the link and we'll talk about it.
Yes, because it's insane. It is insane, and I was like, your country's fucking crazy. So.
Well, our country's fucking crazy too.
It's true. It's true.
The world's fucking crazy right now. It's
exactly
the way we're going. But we'll be back with more guests, more topics to try to figure out what's better than sex.
Awesome.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.